Well, back in Isaiah again, and we're moving quite quickly now after the break of about 10 days or so, or however long it was. So, continue with Isaiah 42, verses 14 to 17. For a long time I have kept silent. I have been quiet and held myself back. But now, like a woman in childbirth, I cry out, I gasp and pant. I mean, how long does it not often seem that God is doing nothing? That God is idle? Or that God is deaf to what's going on? Whether we're talking about our personal lives, or we're talking about societal issues, things affecting our own nation, our own society, or even the whole world. But God is eternal, and He has an eternal plan. And His plan is far bigger than anything we think of, and takes account of things which we don't take account of. God's primary concerns are on His glory, righteousness, justice, and mercy. So that's why God's plans seem to often take longer and then suddenly happen incredibly quickly. And why God is incredibly patient. He says, but now, like a woman in childbirth, I cry out and gasp and pant. He will act. I will lay waste the mountains and hills and dry up all their vegetation. I will turn rivers into islands and dry up the pools. God transforms situations. He changes things. When God acts, things change. God acts, He changes people. He changes circumstances. I will lead the blind by ways they have not known. Along unfamiliar paths, I will guide them. God's plans for our future will not match with the past. We always expect or want things to be the same. But that's not God's way. I will lead you by ways you haven't known. Along unfamiliar paths, I will guide you. So, our world in this year, in many ways, has changed out of all recognition. And the changes haven't stopped. I mean, at the start of this year, did you expect anything that's happened to have happened? Did you think this would have happened? Did you think you would have been locked down? Do you think governments would have been commanding you who you could give a hug to? And the changes haven't stopped. But God says He will lead us by ways we have not known and along unfamiliar paths. Now that can be scary. But listen, see what it says at the end of that sentence or that phrase. I will guide them. The Lord will guide us. Then see what He says. I will turn darkness into light. I will turn darkness into light before them and make the rough places smooth. These are the things I will do. I will not forsake them. This is the promise we have if we stick to God. If we seek to follow Him, darkness will be turned into light. You might look at you and we think, and all we can see is darkness. Stick with God, and that darkness will turn into light. Then look at the end though. But those who trust in idols, who say to images, you are our gods, will be turned back in utter shame. There's a message there for us, the seriousness of the situation. We should follow Jesus. We must follow Jesus. The consequences of not following Jesus are utterly horrendous. The second lesson is this. We hear many voices in society. We hear many claiming to be wise while they proclaim utterly ungodly ways. Such people must either repent and turn to the Lord, or they will be turned back in utter shame.